Hello, digital world. Welcome back. Here we are once again, Spliced In Later, coming at you with another cheeky episode. It's been a week since I last spoke to you. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you've gone and seen plenty of movies. I hope you're catching the latest celebrity goss, new TV shows premiering. Although maybe I hope that you haven't done that, so that you're listening in for the information that I can provide you. It's hard. It's a middle ground we want to walk here. I hope you're in the know, but not quite in the know, because I would hate to lose you as an audience. Today, be giving you another recommendation of something I love. Haven't been to the movies. Shame. I hope to get there soon. But, as I mentioned last time, it has been a while since I've talked about a TV series. In fact, I've only ever talked about one TV series, which was The Mandalorian. A great TV show on Disney+. I loved it. It was hard to talk about, because only a couple episodes had come out, so we didn't really have an idea of what the show was headed for. It had good quality. Would it retain its good quality? It was very hard for me to recommend solely on those episodes. I did. I'll recommend everything I normally talk about. But it was very much seems to be good. Hopefully it will continue to be good. Well, I won't talk about The Mandalorian too much, but I will say that it was a very good first season. Finished strong. I'm excited for season 2. Great acting, great story, great directing, the whole shebang. Well done, Mandalorian. Go check it out. I can confidently say now it is a completely solid first season. But no, I wanted to talk about a TV series. And I was thinking about a few things I wanted to talk about, whether I would talk about Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, because Better Call Saul comes back for its 5th season this week. Whether I would talk about an older TV show like Lost, Prison Break, Heroes, those shows that are notorious for having good quality and then really shit quality, and we were going to discuss why these occur. But, and this is the most important thing, I got busy. I don't have too much time. So, instead of deeply analysing a TV show and the many seasons that accompany it, and whether a show is good or bad, and the hows and the whys, I'm coming at you with just a simple, this is a show that came out, you should watch it, because it is amazing. And the reason that I came across this show is an interesting story. Now, I am notoriously very behind when it comes to TV shows. Unless it is a show that I have been watching since the dawn of time, like those police procedurals that will never end, NCIS, Hawaii Five-0, Chicago Fire, those ones that will just probably keep going and going and going. Or if they're spin-offs of other shows that I have been invested in. So if I'm watching Arrow and The Flash is announced, I'll watch The Flash. If I was watching Cheers and then I see that Frasier is a spin-off, I'll watch Frasier. Very rarely does a show appear on my radar before it airs. Normally I'll hear about it while it's airing, because word of mouth, people talk about it, they'll say it's good, they'll say it's bad. But I watch so many TV shows every day of the week that it is hard for me to summon the courage to pick up a show and run with it, because that is more show, more time that I just don't have, I'm an adult. I still have to work. I still have to socialize, whether it's with my family, whether it's my friends. I know I shouldn't make it sound like that's an inconvenience. That's not true at all. But, things are different from when you're growing up and you've got a lot of free time, because it's between school and friends and home. Now there's so much going on. I can't really afford to also be watching 7 new shows every day. But luck would have it, as mentioned before, I buy DVDs. We won't address how silly that is, but I buy DVDs. My local DVD store, JB Hi-Fi, had a special on, which was buy one TV series, get one free. I was buying a TV series anyway, because I had watched it before, which was Swamp Thing, and it was really silly if I didn't pick something else up, because I'm literally getting it for free. But here's the rub. At the same time, it's hard to get invested in a show that you know is going to be a big slog. Before I talk about the show that we're going to talk about today, I do want to talk about the longevity of some shows. Specifically, things like The Walking Dead. Now, The Walking Dead, I have not seen, but I want to see. It sounds like a show that I would be very interested in. It's got a lot of characters, lots of twists and turns, very comic booky. Certainly a lot of deaths. The storylines are crazy out there all over the place. It sounds good. It sounds like something I would want to do. However, The Walking Dead, I believe it's on its 10th season now. That's 10 seasons I'm going to have to power through to get up to date. And the moment I start watching it, the internet's going to become a very dangerous place because there'll be so many spoilers. I have a friend who made the mistake recently of watching a show. He Googled a character's name just to see the actor, I believe. It was whether he'd seen the actor before in something else, or whether the character had appeared in the show previously, or if he was a brand new character. And immediately the internet told him that that character was dead up at the point of the show that the rest of the world is on. So big spoils. But also, as I said, we live busy lives. So I really, really like to get through a show as quickly as possible, to get it all as fast as I possibly can. To pick up something that's 10 seasons long, and this is a big, big production show, so each episode would probably be minimum an hour. That's a long slog. Same with Supernatural as well. I think Supernatural sounds like a great show. I haven't seen it. I didn't get on board with it when it was a big deal in the beginning because, as I've mentioned before, I'm a wimp. I thought it was a horror show. I've been told now it's not, and from what I've heard with crossing over into Scooby-Doo territory, it sounds like a show I could probably really enjoy. But they are currently finishing their 15th season. 15 seasons. That's insane. I will wait. I think I will watch Supernatural. They'll finish up the 15th season, and I'll try and watch it all. But that's, again, a huge investment. I have to commit to a good 300, 400 episodes of a show. And also, if I'm looking for something to buy for free, I don't want to buy season 1 of something knowing that I'm getting it for free. But I'm going to be back the next 9 weeks to buy everything else after that. But luck would have it, I'd heard about a show that had come out in 2019. It was a simple mini-series, a 5-episode mini-series. I thought, why not? I'll pick that up, I'll set aside a Saturday evening, and I'll watch it all in one go. And boy, it was the best decision I've ever made. It was a fantastic experience, a great show. I'm about to talk to you about Chernobyl. Now, Chernobyl's great. Chernobyl is one of those shows that knows straight away this is only going to be an event series. We're going to have our 5 episodes. That's it. No more, no less. With something like Chernobyl, you shouldn't argue with that fact because Chernobyl obviously is something that happened in real life. It was a terrible event. They told the story. There's no reason why they should go in season 2 of Chernobyl. We look into people who went back a couple years later and said, yep, the place is still radioactive. No, that's not what they did. I can guarantee you the discussion was probably there. Chernobyl, great ratings, great reviews, good word of mouth. HBO would probably go, come on, keep that Chernobyl train running. But nope, it's just a simple event series. You can comfortably get into it knowing you're going to get all the information you want. You're going to get the entertainment that you're investing with, and you're not going to steamroller into Chernobyl Season 9, where the quality has dropped so much because they're just making episodes for the sake of it. I've heard the same thing is going on right now with the TV series Watchmen. They just finished their first season. It was a fantastic show. Would highly recommend watching Watchmen. Who watches The Watchmen? I do. However, the people who made it only wanted to do the one season. There's currently a big discussion right now. Are they going to do Watchmen Season 2? They don't have any plans for a Season 2. They didn't set up Season 1 with Season 2 in mind. At a point where you're just making a show for the sake of it, which again, a lot of these police procedurals like NCIS is the issue. They're just making it because you're 17 seasons in. Who knows what these characters have got up to next? Let's throw a bomb in their bathhouse and see what happens. So something like Chernobyl is great because you can go into it, get what you need, be assured in the quality and the content, and then move on to something else. So I'd advocate Chernobyl, Watchmen, Band of Brothers, The Pacific, anything like that that's just its self-contained story are all aces in my book. Anzacs. I did an episode on Anzacs before. Which I guess thinking about that means that The Mandalorian wasn't the only TV show I've done a review on. Look at that. I've done so many episodes I can't remember what I've done before. But yes, none of this stuff has pushed past its point. It's one simple series. Chernobyl knew the story it wanted to tell, and by God, did it tell it. Now, to talk about Chernobyl is hard because you want to learn about what the Chernobyl situation was watching the show. I was familiar with the concept of Chernobyl. The concept of Chernobyl is that sometime in the past, the Chernobyl nuclear power station in the Ukraine suffered an explosion. And as a result of that explosion, the area around Chernobyl now is irradiated. Radiation is so bad, people can't live there. You can't really go back there. It's still a terrible, deadly place to this day. I believe it took place in the late 80s, the explosion. So we're in 2020 now, and it's still a no-go area. So that really hammers home how serious the whole situation was. But I thought, going into it, that I knew what a nuclear explosion was, and I was absolutely wrong. Watching the episodes of Chernobyl unfold was really enlightening to me to learn about the situation, how it began, what transpired, how things steamrolled into other situations, who was involved. All completely new to me. I thought I had some knowledge. I was completely out of mind. So it was a great learning experience for me. And I don't want to tell you what I learned, because if you haven't seen Chernobyl, I will take that experience away from you. I'm pretty sure most people have seen Chernobyl. I know it was talked about a lot at my workplace. But for those few people that haven't, don't worry, boys and girls, I'll keep you in the dark. What I will say about Chernobyl, it is fantastic in its execution of the situation and the seriousness of the situation. You get 5 episodes. Each episode showcases a certain part of the nuclear crisis, whether it's the explosion, the fallout, the cleanup, the political arguments, the whole shebang. Each episode is its own self-contained story, so you finish it having learnt something, and then we move on to the next thing. There's no cliffhangers. I will say there is one episode that's kind of cliffhanger-y, but not really. You don't finish one episode going, ooh, what happens next? You finish one episode going, that was the most horrifying, upsetting thing I've ever seen. Now let's see what happened next. And that's the really thing about Chernobyl. You need to be in the mood to watch this. At the same time, you absolutely should watch it. Chernobyl is, I think, essential viewing for people who enjoy quality content, especially on the TV. As we go into the future, the quality of a TV show, it just gets better and better with every year because of the budget, because of the step forwards in CGI and production value, because programs like HBO and AMC are investing so much in their stories, because sometimes it's easier to tell a story over a mini-series than trying to condense it into a 2-hour film. But Chernobyl was a terrible thing that happened. A lot of fallout, a lot of death, horrifying ordeal. You're not going to watch this and feel any sort of happy emotion. By the end of episode 3, which is when we're really into the fallout of the Chernobyl incident and the people who are on the front lines and what's happening to them, I was sick to my stomach. I thought I probably couldn't go on. I knew I owed it to the people that they were showcasing and the actual show itself to keep going, but it rocked me to my core seeing what was happening to these people involved in the Chernobyl incidents, whether it was the firefighters, the technicians, the politicians, all of that. I thought I knew what it was like to suffer from radiation poisoning. No, I don't. Not by a long shot. By the end of episode 5, when it's all wrapped up, and with these sort of historical things, you do get those little captions at the end saying what happened to these people after the show ended. The music's swelling up, it's showing real-life pictures of the places that you had just seen over the course of the last 5 hours, and it's upsetting. You want to cry, but you also want to be sick. It's such a terrible thing, what happened at Chernobyl. What's even more terrible is the Soviet Union and their approach to it, and how to this day, the contradiction between what the Soviet Union says is the fallout of Chernobyl and what we, as educated human beings, having watched Chernobyl, now know about the situation. It is powerful TV, and that's its goal, is to make you feel like this, because you do need to feel like this. If you don't feel like this watching this show, you might be a psychopath. I'm not sure. But I knew that. I knew that going into this show that that's how I was going to feel. That's kind of how I wanted to feel, because I was ready to learn. The experience watching this, with each action, with each event that was unfolding, is something that will not be repeated. After your first viewing, you're not going to get that same response. You can still go back and rewatch it and remember what it was like to learn all this information. But that very first moment where you get the information about Chernobyl and you see what's happening on screen and the emotions that you are feeling, they're going to stick with you. You're going to remember where you were when you watched Chernobyl. a lot of what hammers home this show as well is the acting. Now, there are a lot of actors in here. I will narrow it down to our three leads: Jared Harris, Stellan Skarsgård, and Emily Watson. These are our three main protagonists that we stick through for these 5 episodes. 3 very different people with 3 very different approaches to the Chernobyl incident. The emotion that these actors are portraying in their characters is just outstanding. Jared Harris is the realist. He's the one that's going, oh my god, you guys do not understand what has happened here and what's going to happen from this point on. We're doomed. You just do not understand. Stellan Skarsgård is the political, it'll be fine, put a lid on it, throw some soot on it, it's okay. It can't be that bad. And if it is, we'll fix it. It's okay. Don't just, Soviet Union's great. Hurrah. And Emily Watson, who apparently is a conglomeration of several people who were involved in the Chernobyl incident, is the one who's actually actively looking for the culprits, the people who caused the Chernobyl incident to occur, and she wants justice for those people to get what they deserve, and for the people who died to not die in vain. Each one has their scene in this show where they really showcase why they were picked to play these roles and why they're just fantastic actors. Emily Watson, around episode 3, she's in the hospital, she's talking to the people who were the fallout from the Chernobyl incident, and the story she's hearing and the way these people are deteriorating in front of her eyes is just incredible. She looks like she's going to cry, but she's not because she's holding it together, but the emotion on her face just says it all. Jared Harris has a great scene where he is literally proposing an idea to control the Chernobyl incident, and he's saying, to do this, we have to send some people to their deaths. Now, all around him, the Soviet Union are going, yep, cool, alright, let's do it. And he's going, in his eyes, you can't be seriously okay with this. But his mouth is, good, I'm glad you're okay with this because this does need to be done. But it's horrifying that we've come to this situation and we can just be okay with sending people to their deaths. And are we going to tell them the truth? Are we going to lie to them? I can't handle being here. This is my nightmare scenario. The production for this show is just fantastic. I have never been to Chernobyl for obvious reasons, but it felt very realistic. The way people were acting and talking to each other, the sets that they were on, the interaction with wildlife and animals and everything like that. The sets for the nuclear power plant itself, and for the style of, I guess, the late 80s that they were doing with cars and things. Very realistic, top-notch, well done HBO for really investing. I will say, this is a gripe that's not really Chernobyl's fault. I think it's what the production ran with, and I guess it kind of makes sense. All of our actors are very British, and they don't hide their British accents when they're portraying these Russian Ukrainians. In fact, there's even one Russian Ukrainian who is unbelievably Scottish. Now, I don't know if that's a Valkyrie Tom Cruise sort of decision, because Tom Cruise can't do a German accent, and if he had tried to pretend to do a German accent for the whole of that film Valkyrie he was in, it would have really detracted from his performance. So I'm guessing with this one, they decided to do the same thing. But you have Jared Harris and Stellan Skarsgård operating off each other. Stellan Skarsgård has his accent, Jared Harris has his British accent. It does take you out of it just a little bit, where you see all these different people from England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, and they're saying, oh yes, Mother Russia. It's a little bit unbelievable when it's stacked up against how authentic everything else is. But that didn't take away from my appreciation of the material. That didn't take away my reaction of the story. So I guess that's just a little gripe that I can get over with. But it is something that I feel I would need to point out, because from the very first scene where everybody talks and you go, oh, okay, they're not pretending to be Russian. There's not a single Russian here. You can get past that. It's the only fault of the show. Everything else, fantastic. Overall, Chernobyl is a 9 out of 10. The only reason it's not full marks is because of that small incident, and also because a 10 out of 10 I would want to watch again and again. Chernobyl is great, but I cannot watch that again for a couple years, I think. It's not something I can just pop in the DVD player on a Sunday afternoon and go, yeah, let's watch some Chernobyl. It is specific viewing for specific feelings. So the rewatchability factor is a little bit down. But 9 out of 10 for acting, story, direction, production, emotional investment. If you haven't seen Chernobyl, you need to see it. So you can either learn about the Chernobyl incident, what happened, what transpired, what we did to fix it, what is still outrageously wrong to this day. If you do think you know about Chernobyl, you should check it out to see if you do know everything. Are there bits of information that you've got wrong? Are there bits of information you didn't even know existed? But more importantly, we're in that day and age with Netflix, all the streaming services. We've had our Game of Thrones, our Westworld. If you're looking for quality TV production that's like a movie, but you don't have to go to the movie theater to see it, Chernobyl is something you should absolutely check out for sure. And finally, what's great about Chernobyl is I can invest it to you knowing that it's all there for you to do. I'm not going to say check out Chernobyl's first couple of seasons. Who knows where Chernobyl will go on from here. One day I will talk about a show that's maybe 6 seasons or longer to really unpack that sort of production value and whether shows should continue past a certain point. The notorious jump the shark moment of Happy Days and shows like That 70s Show, Prison Break, Once Upon a Time, general shows that obviously had a 1-season idea, but they were forced to continue because of popularity and ratings. Whether they are good decisions, bad decisions, it's a whole thing that would take a whole other episode to unpack. But for now, if you're looking for simple viewing, simple miniseries, just that 1 season, don't have to invest about any other shows, don't have to invest in anything further on, don't have to watch a bit and then wonder where it's going to go. Something like Chernobyl, or as I said earlier, Watchmen, that's definitely going to scratch the itch that you've got. There we are. That is a TV review. I hope you enjoyed that one. It's interesting. Chernobyl is a unique experience. It's hard to tell you to watch something without telling you anything about it. But I think it's a good move on everyone's part. If you have watched Chernobyl, feel free to let me know. If you do watch Chernobyl and you like it or you dislike it, feel free to let me know. Either way, I love and appreciate you all. Thank you for listening to me, as you always do. I'll be back in a week. Hard to say what I'll be talking about. I know I really want to keep doing my Marvel month, but time is just a cruel mistress at the moment. I got a lot of things going on. I want to do my top 10 movies of 2017. I want to talk about Breaking Bad for sure, because that's worth addressing. So who knows? You'll just have to check back in next week and see what I land on. I'll tell you this, Chernobyl wasn't on my list of things to talk about last week when I was thinking about this week. So even I don't know what I'll be talking about. And that's exciting, isn't it? I can't wait to panic and just give you something out of the blue and hope it sticks. You've been spliced in later. Adios, muchachos. I'll catch you next time.